Terraria servers have been around for almost a decade now, but I feel like 99% of players just forget they exist. Even the Penguin server, known to be the best server Terraria has to offer, hasn't been able to reach over 200 players at once in at least 2 years. You might look at these spikes in player count and think I'm stupid for even saying that, but no, these are just DDoS attacks. Hackers flooding the server with traffic. Now granted, there are other servers in Terraria that are able to break past the 200 player mark, some almost making it to 500. But even then, those players are out of 25,000 active PC players. Meaning, at best, with all the servers combined, only 2 to 3% of players are choosing to play them. And those numbers are nothing in comparison to a game like Minecraft, with servers like Hypixel boasting over 200,000 active players at once within the same time frame. That is 20% of Minecraft's active PC player count. Anyways, after seeing these statistics, I was wondering, why aren't Terraria servers more popular and what could be done to revive them? Obviously, I've never owned a server before, and this is mostly speculation based on research, but I still think it could be worth looking into. Let's start with answering why Terraria servers aren't more popular. You might want to get comfy for this, because there are a lot of answers. But just a quick warning before I start, this video is mainly going to be focused on the Penguin game server, and that's just because it's the one I'm most familiar with. But basically everything I say in this video can apply to all other servers. For starters, I decided to give myself a quick refresh on Terraria servers since I'm part of the 97% that barely plays them. But before even getting into the server, I had an issue. What is this menu? From what I could find, this area hasn't been touched by Relogic since the original 1.0 release of the game, and it shows. Considering how nice they made literally every other menu look, I think it's time for this to get a redesign. But what if I told you that it has gotten one? On the mobile port of Terraria, the server list looks like this. In what world does a mobile port get better treatment than PC? Here's a fun fact for you. The only way to delete unwanted servers from your list is to go into the Terraria file and delete the entire server list. I have zero doubt that this terrible UI contributes immensely to the servers barely getting touched. They won't even get touched by the developers. Anyways, immediately after hopping in, I was already having issues. So as you play in the server, you can earn Penguin points, the server's currency. But if you want to save those points, you first have to make an account. I'm playing this game on an account. You register by putting in your email, username, and then password in the chat, which is already a lot for some new players, probably resulting in them deciding that it just isn't worth the effort. But then you have to put that info in every time you rejoin the server? None of this is really the Penguin developers' fault though, they're just working with what Relogic gave them, and they deserve massive props for it. And you know what else Relogic gave us? Commands. These are literally the only way to interact with servers, and it sucks. I'm just trying to play some games, not learn a new language. We'll also fix this later. But right now, it's time to figure out what is the server's fault. Now, although I'm not really a competitive player, games like Spleef and Penguin Party were a blast for me. I also tried basically all the other games, but even though they sounded fun going in, I didn't enjoy them too much. I tried to figure out why this was, and it kind of came down to 3 main things. First of all is simply the player count. When I joined the server, I noticed that basically every game was empty besides a select few. So unless you either want to wait an eternity or play with like 2 to 4 people, you gotta kind of follow the crowd. Which, surprise, is what everyone else does. So why is the player count down? That's where the 2 other reasons come in. There's practically no incentive to play, and the games that are available aren't really that good. But before I start absolutely dunking on these developers, let me just say, I'm not a developer, but I am aware that stuff like this isn't easy to make, especially when you're doing it for free. What I'm about to say should be taken more as a kind criticism and not as hate towards the people working hard to keep this server going. Let's figure out why there's no incentive. As I mentioned earlier, you can earn Penguin points for playing on the server. Currency like this exists in pretty much every server in every game ever, so where's the issue? It's basically worthless. These points are literally used for one thing, ranking up, which most people won't even realize is possible unless you read this sign that explains how you need to enter a command for it to even work. But what does ranking up get you? Vanity items and dye. Now, obviously, this once again isn't really the developer's fault. From what I know, Relogic doesn't allow people to make custom items or special effects that would be a much cooler thing to spend points on. But maybe we don't even need those. I'm going to cover that in the second half. Now, let's take a look at these games. Honestly, for what it's worth, these are a lot of fun. But that doesn't mean everybody is going to think that. Obviously, since these developers are working with a 2D game, they're going to be pretty limited with what they can make, and it definitely shows here. It's obvious that they tried to make their own unique games instead of just copying other servers from other games, but sometimes I wish I could just play some Skywars or Build Battle instead of capture the gem and build my thing. Sadly, since Terraria is a 2D game, there will always be stuff that simply can't be made, but I definitely think more selection in games could help get a lot of new players in here. Now, to be fair to the developers, the Games Hub has a lot more selection than just the 8 that get featured in the lobby, but the only way to access it outside of commands is to go into the FAQ area and find the portal in there. And let's be honest, practically nobody goes through an FAQ portal when surrounded by all these games. So this has probably been overlooked by tons of people. But anyways, I don't think it would be fair to the developers or the games if we didn't individually take a look at them. So I'm going to give a brief review of the games that I see as the 8 most popular. I'm not going to do all of them because I know firsthand how bad your attention span is. Like, bro, I hyper edit my videos for this one reason. Why are you not watching? I'm also going to give ways these games could be made better since I don't feel like splitting this into 2 segments. Let's get started. The classic. Choose your class and push through the enemy team until you capture their gem, then run it back to your side and you have yourself a game. Capture the gem definitely gets repetitive, but I'm not sure there's many ways we can fix that. I do think that this game would do well with its own leveling system to give you bigger rewards to work towards, or maybe to just unlock more classes, possibly limited time ones. Other than that, it's basically just capture the flag. 6 out of 10. Oh, the actual classic. Terraria survival for the first half, absolute blood spill for the second half. This is definitely fun, but I found that melee is basically useless, so you either gotta be mage or ranger, and let's be honest, nobody is getting good mage gear in 20 minutes. Also, when I played this, I got the Terraria from a sword shrine, but only a small portion of my hits actually registered. I assume these are invincibility frames, and I think they're absolutely retarded. 4 out of 10. Penguin Party is great for you attention span lacking, TikTok addicted, dopamine craving sons of guns. I said guns, mom. Each round, you and the other players get to choose between 3 games to play, and there's a lot of selection. It's very hard to get bored while playing this. 8 out of 10. Spleef is actually adapted pretty well here. I like the variation they added by sometimes giving you rocket launchers, bombs, shimmer, and other things, but I feel like some variation in map size and which way the lava flows could be nice. 6 out of 10. Build My Thing is cool, but I don't think I'd actively choose it over some other games. Also, I would just much rather have Build Battle than this. 5 out of 10. Let me just say, these maps are fantastic. They all have their own cool identity and are really fun to play. The only sad part is that parkour isn't nearly as fun in 2D as it is in 3D. Just my opinion though. Also, this lobby design sucks. Why do I have to do parkour just to play more parkour? 7 out of 10. Class Wars kind of feels more like class battles. Obviously, this could be fixed with more players, but I think some variation in spawn points might help here a lot. 6 out of 10. Have you ever joined one of those Minecraft Chaos servers where the world is so poorly kept that you just don't even bother playing it? This is basically that. I would say just go play normal Terraria. 3 out of 10. What would help these issues immensely is if Relogic added the ability for server devs to make their own game rules or custom items. Then the capabilities for servers would go through the roof. Plus, mobile players and maybe console players in the future can get just that much closer to experiencing modded Terraria. Okay, so now we've diagnosed what the potential issues for Terraria servers are, but now we gotta start figuring out how to fix them. Starting with Relogic's end. The major problems we seem to be facing right now are UI, along with technical and creative limitations for server developers. Let's start with updating this UI. Instead of trying to describe this, I just decided to take a crack at it myself for proof of concept. And this is what I came out with, featuring insane, never-before things such as a live player count, a unique banner for each server, a favorite button, and a delete button? Yeah, guys, I think I went a little cray-cray. Obviously, this is missing some things such as titles for the servers and a public server list, but I wasn't spending all day on this. Even then, this still looks infinitely better than what we have. Also, about the public server list, I know searching and entering an IP isn't really that hard, but remember, the goal is to make this experience as fun and seamless as possible. So now it's time for us to take the perspective of a future player, starting by hopping into the server, and this time we can just register in the new welcome screen and stay logged in, since Relogic is either let your Steam account or characters stay linked to your server account. And thankfully, now if you're a new player, you don't have to sit here and read through all the commands just to play a game. All you have to do is open the navigator item in your inventory and look through a couple menus. Thanks to the server devs now having practically infinite creative freedom, there's tons of new games available that are more fun than ever, and naturally the player count is up too. It's possible the servers might even start tossing advertisements in just so they aren't only being supported by Patreons. And obviously, with the revival of the Penguin server, other servers start gaining more traction and new servers start popping up, creating competition and a better experience as a result. Now, let's see what we can do with these Penguin points. I think there's 3 general ways we can give these more value. One is to just allow you to do more with them, such as purchase custom items specific to the server or limited time classes and such. Something I noticed while recording this video is that the Penguin Games Discord actually hosts quite a few giveaways, so why not do number 2 and allow you to purchase extra giveaway entries or maybe a Patreon subscription if you save enough points. Number 3 is to do all of the above. This may seem a little optimistic because it kinda is, but I think this could realistically happen just with these changes. And obviously, there's tons of things I probably missed. I'm just one guy, so go ahead and leave a comment on ways you think Terraria servers can be improved upon. Thanks for watching.